Have you ever flown first class? I've only done it once, and it was a cool experience. I mean, you're treated differently. You have tons of space, and like the seats have all these cool buttons in it and like this big screen, and you only have one neighbor, right? Tons of leg space and elbow room. You can like lay yourself all the way back, and the stewardess are extra nice. And the flight attendants, they are constantly giving you things like, would you like another coffee? Would you like another snack? And it is interesting how people like look at you and talk to you differently when you're up there. And the only reason I was flying first class was because a tattoo ink manufacturing company wanted me to come out and tour their facility. They flew me out first class, put me up in a hotel, fed me good food, and they wanted me to give a good report about their product to my followers. You see, I was the public relations officer for the Alliance of Professional Tattooists. So I was the PR rep for our union. And I had developed a bit of a following, a reputation. And it wasn't because they wanted me, it's because of who was looking at me, who was following me. And this one was from years of work. I used to be the chairman for our regulatory board. So I was basically the one that was helping make laws for healthy and safe tattooing in the state of New Mexico. And I used to even go to schools and teach kids about the dangers of unprofessional tattooing. It's a real issue. And I'd always ask them though, like, what do you want to be when you grow up? I was always interested. What do young people want to be when they become an adult? And you know what the number one response was out of all these years of doing this? An influencer, which is a trip. I mean, it has become a $21 billion industry. And it's this mindset that your followers equal status. It's your views that equal your value. And the attention you get is your identity. And I'll be honest with you, to be seen, validated, important, chosen, I liked it. But here's the thing, this isn't new. This is like the oldest trick in the book. This is something we have always chased. And social media didn't invent this. It's the original issue, the original sin. Social media just monetized it. Because you see, back in Genesis 3, when the serpent was talking to Eve, tempting her, lying to her, in Genesis 3:5, he says, for God knows that when you eat of it, now he's talking about the tree of good and evil, your eyes will be opened and you will be like God, knowing good and evil. You will be like God. That's like our original temptation. And it wasn't like evil or fruit, it was autonomy. You don't need God to define good and evil. You don't need God to define truth. You can sit on your own throne. You can have people worship you. You can have people buying your products and listening to your reviews, get free swag, right? I mean, we've always just wanted our own throne. And this act that Adam and Eve did, because Adam was right there. He was standing there next to Eve. This wasn't ignorance. It was rebellion. And thousands of years later, we're still doing the same thing. Worship other things than God. We worship followers. We worship money. We worship status or intelligence or beauty or even ministry platforms. We'd always try to replace God with ourselves. The dangers isn't our phones. It's the worship we give them. It's just the algorithm has simply monetized the oldest sin in human history. Look at me, validate me, glorify me. And this has been going on since Adam, since his son Cain. Read the book of Kings, first and second. All empires, all the way up to us. And this isn't just the Gen Z problem, this is a humanity problem. You know, some are exhausted. This is not built for this. And some, this destroys them. There's the story of a young woman named Misha Agrawal, and she became a social media influencer. She'd grown a following all the way up to like 350,000 followers. And on top of being an influencer, she was also a law student. But she had this obsession. The same thing. She liked to be seen. She felt validated. It wasn't about becoming a lawyer and making a bunch of money and having that. She wanted to feel like people saw her, appreciated her, validated her. And so her goal was like she wanted to have a million followers, which is hard. And because it wasn't happening, it was degrading her sense of self and value. I mean, you got to the point, apparently, where her family like pulled an intervention. They all came together and said, hey, you got a bright future. You're going to be a lawyer. It didn't penetrate because that wasn't valued to her. It was her following. Fortunately, she lost her life to suicide. Now, this isn't important. This isn't about the followers, though. It wasn't about the external things. She needed that like identity, which rested completely on external validation. If that crowd can give you identity, it can also take it away. But what's beautiful in all this is God. He's not silent. He sent Christ to save us, to show us the contrast. Apostle Paul tells us in Philippians 2, 3-8. Let's read through it and then we'll dissect it. Do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit. Rather, in humility, value others above yourself. Not looking at your own interests, but each of you to the interests of the others. In your relationships with one another, have the same mindset as Christ Jesus, who, being in the very nature of God, did not consider equality with God something to be used to his own advantage. Rather, he made himself nothing by taking the very nature of a servant, being made in human likeness. And being found in appearance as man, he humbled himself by becoming obedient to death, even death on a cross. In here, Paul uses, there's some Greek words that are awesome, worth noting. It says, do nothing from selfish ambition or empty conceit. And the phrase selfish ambition comes from the Greek word erythria, which describes political self-promotion. And it's like people work in a room for personal gain, which sounds like politics, right? Trying to elevate yourself for personal gain. And then the word empty conceit is kenodoxia, which is empty glory. To look full, but actually be hollow. I mean, that's like social media in one phrase. I mean, how many times have you seen a post and that, it's a super happy family. The women have perfect makeup and no flaws. The dudes all have six packs and it's perfect lighting, right? It looks real, but if you meet them, that's not who you're meeting. It's all hollow. In what Paul is teaching us, he's showing this contrast. And it's for us to ask the thing, the question before we post something, is it for us to be seen, to be heard? Or is it to regard others as important as ourselves? He's giving us contrast, the answer to this problem that we have developed. And it's Jesus. What's crazy is Jesus never stopped being God, but he willingly humbled himself. He laid aside his status and entered into the form of a servant. Now that's kind of sometimes hard for us to wrap our mind around, because, we get upset if we lose followers or someone disrespects us. Like, Jesus, who's God? Like the greatest platform ever. All things were made through him. Instead of him like humbling himself to a king or a lord, he came down to a servant and ultimately gave himself for us. So maybe before we post or we speak or we interact, react, we should ask ourselves, does this look like Jesus? I'm not saying this to be judgmental, because This is something I struggled with. You see, I fell into that trap as I was traveling. When I engaged with people, I'd ask, be like, bro, you got an Insta? You got a platform? Sometimes I'd whip out the phone and, we'd swap our IGs right there, and I'd look at their following. And if they had like a large following, I'd be like, oh, well, it's good to meet you, sir, man. Like, give them this elevated sense of self. But if they had a low following, I'd be like, oh, nice to meet you. Keep trying. But it was poison. It poisoned me. That's not how we're supposed to be with each other. And so when I finally gave up on that and I finally started following Christ, I mean, like every young, hungry, or excited Christian, you want to share your faith. So I was using my platforms to share Christ. And not all of my followers like that. I was actually taken out of the public relations position for my union. I stepped down from the board. Followers left. There was no more free flights. There was no more opportunities. They were no longer putting me on stage to talk about what I wanted to talk about. And it hurt a bit. And that's why I realized it's like, at the root of it, it's not a culture problem, it's a heart problem. Because our sense of identity is getting attached to our visibility. And God, again, being so good, gave us an example to follow. Jesus did this too. Jesus had a lot of followers. And they weren't just like numbers on a screen, right? Like, he legitimately had people around him. Just look at the story when he fed the 5,000. And that was 5,000 men, not including women and children. So 15, 20,000 people in one go, right? He was probably surrounded by thousands of people often. And he touched them, healed them, loved them. He had a deep connection with them. But that night when the soldiers came to get him and arrest him, everybody ran. Everybody split. His disciples, like every one of them scattered. And Peter, like his right-hand man, his road dog, denied him 3 times. And Jesus saw that. Imagine that in real life. Like when I was losing followers, I'd like have to go in and look to find that they unfollowed me, right? Imagine it being where when somebody unfollows you, instead of it just disappearing, you get a DM and it's like a video of them going like, I never knew Ben, like he sucked. I deny him and I followed him on accident. That's similar. Jesus watched it happen. He knew they were going to abandon him, but he chose the cross anyway. And not because we were faithful to him, but because he was faithful to us. Going back to Philippians 2:6, who, being the very nature of God, he did not consider equality with God something to be used for his own advantage. That's so counter to us. But rather, he made himself nothing by taking the very nature of a servant, being made in human likeness. And being found in appearance as a man, he humbled himself by being obedient to death, even death on a cross. The creator of the cosmos entered humiliation. At the time, this was the most humiliating, painful, still humiliating, painful way to die. And he did this because it wasn't that we were faithful to him. He was faithful to us. Jesus shows us the true metrics to live by. The world asks us to climb, pushes us to promote ourselves, become bigger, better, badder, to leverage ourselves, to be seen. But Jesus says, descend, serve, wash feet, die to yourself. It's the ultimate opposite algorithm. And what's something important to note for anyone that my voice lands on your ear, after thousands of years later, Jesus is still the most influential person in human history. And he didn't have a PR team. He didn't have a branding strategy. was because he didn't promote himself. He gave himself. Philippians 2:9-11. Therefore God exalted him to the highest place and gave him the name above every other name, that at the name of Jesus every knee should bow, in heaven and on earth and under the earth. And every tongue would acknowledge that Jesus Christ is Lord, to the glory of God the Father. And therefore God exalted him. So I have to ask you, who are you following? Not on your Instagram, but in your soul. Whose voice is shaping your worth? Because everybody worships something. The question is, who's sitting on your throne? And for sure, for some of us, it was followers. For some, it may be even just, it could be money. It could be your appearance or your control or your approval or your religion. But Jesus is inviting you to freedom. The world says build yourself, but he's saying die to yourself and find life. So follow that. If you feel that this weight is crushing you and you're ready for freedom, it's time to follow the most influential person in human history, and that's Jesus Christ.